Oscar. He's
Okay.
just joining. Yeah. Is there anyone else from your side coming in?
I've got a few people who are actually on the YouTube side of things, watching it on the end. They're not in. They're not in the room, but they're they're messaging me questions already.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so we're ready whenever you are.
Okay.
Hey Steve, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. All right. So, I mean, you pretty much know. I mean, there isn't any more on what these ideas are. I'm just trying to figure out what the budgets are to build them, if anybody wants to be a partner on them. And then I'm going to kind of do some market analysis to try to figure out, based on the budgets, okay, which ones am I doing, which ones am I not? But this is sort of more for you guys to ask me questions. And I've had people ask me, well, what kind of language do you want it written in? And I mean, I'm 20. I used to be in development 25 years ago, right around the .com era. And even then, I ran a development department. I wasn't the coder, so like I got no clue. Software, I just know what I want it to be functional for. I don't know what I and if you guys see connections where you're like, oh, the safety app and the whichever should connect with each other and they should be one app and it's cheaper if you do them together. I'm fine with those kinds of things. Say, hey, put these two together and it really won't be twice the price. That's okay. I'm open to any ideas you have, or hey, you know what? Why are you going into this market? There's already too many of these. So really, this is sort of like your chance to ask me whatever questions you need to ask me. Anybody?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now? I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
realize it was on mute.
yep,
So, before I go, like I was saying, like before I go ahead and talk about like technical questions that I had shared with Jay and he had shared with you, right? Now, what I want you to do, I just need to understand the entire concept of the applications that you have. Like, what was the vision and what was the outcome like that you came up with this idea.
yeah. So basically, so the what I call the all for one for all QR code app, which
Mm-hmm.
is a scanner one that verifies it's an actual scan. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
few different reads for that. The first read was actually Salvation Army bell ringers,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that I never carry cash, so I walk past those things all the time, and I never have, I might have $100 bill, but I'm not always able to part with that $100 bill. So I don't really donate to a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of okay, scan, but a standard QR code. I've seen bell ringers with a QR code on the thing. I'm not doing that because I don't know whose QR code that is. I have no way of knowing it's the Salvation Army I'm donating to. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if we had a scan that checked the database, app and a scan that checked the database, and it then either said, no, this is not in our database, and this, the client could still go ahead and continue with the scan because they might use us to scan other QR codes, or they might not continue to use our scan, or it'll scan and say, yep, this is one of our affiliated whatever is one of our members, and it'll take them to the end destination that the member wants them taken to. We're not necessarily taking the collections. We're simply verifying that the scan is there. In my model is that there's three choices when a scan is approved. It's and with the donation, it may just take you to their donation page, but we give the company making the QR code, the Salvation Army, the real estate agent, whatever, let's say three or four choices in the same app. And the whole idea is it's one app that does everything. It's like a Swiss Army knife. The same app that you'll scan a real estate QR code that's one of our members. It'll say, do you want to see the home? Do you want to learn more about the home? Do you want to contact the agent, or the agent can have a fourth choice. The agent can create four choices basically. The same app scans the Salvation Army QR code. Do you want to make a donation? Do you want more information? Whatever the choices are. Again, the client, the Salvation Army, the real estate agent, whatever. You're in a restaurant. You're not getting attention from the bartender. And I know a lot of restaurants now, this actually was before COVID, I came up with this. A lot of restaurants now have QR codes, but this is, verifies it. Do you want your bill? Do you want the, whatever? You're in a strip club and you scan your table and you can, do you want a dancer to come see you? Do you want another drink? Do you want this? Do you want that? I haven't traveled a lot recently, but I'm, every single town has their own app. Well, rather than every damn town having their own app, One for All would route you to basically the website for that town. So, and there's a couple other applications of this. There are these things called college fairs, where the kids go into a large room and, kind of go, there's a bunch of booths. It's like an expo. All right. So rather than spending time filling out the stupid comment card and, then it takes 2 months for the college to get that paper comment card into their system and start whatever, you scan your QR code. Do you want to trade information for this college? Do you want to give them yours? Do you want, whatever the 4 questions might be? And the last application is, well, not the last, but one of the other applications is for at a trade show. Same idea. You scan the other person's thing and immediately can trade info. And interestingly enough, my accountant, who's a very small, young, cute woman, she's like, oh my God, I would love that. She's like, because I never know if someone's coming up to me at a conference for professional reasons or not so professional reasons. So that's where the QR code one kind of came into fruition. And I'm just kind of going through them in order here. The Follow Me, Lead Me came out of really being in real estate and just having people have to follow you or you're following them. And, maybe you're going point to point and you don't always have the time to trade the address or where you're going next. Or maybe you're, a lot of times they're not a local and they're going to follow GPS a really stupid way. And I'm a local and I can say, oh, we'll just, so that's really all Follow Me, Lead Me was. And that was probably the most security dangerous because especially the person being followed has to be able to turn that off very quickly. Then the driving application kind of comes out of the QR application, but basically, and this I envision as being, and I don't know if it's an add-on to a driving directions app or it's its own driving directions app, but I envision this being a subscription model. I do want to possibly have a real estate listing service, but there's so many of those. So I don't think we necessarily want to say, join our listing service to get this. But the general idea is that the person using our driving directions app or the driving directions app with our add-on, whatever the hell it ends up being, they'll have entered into a system saying, I'm looking for 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this price range, in this region, physical geography. And they're driving to work, they're driving to school, they're driving to whatever. And the phone literally says, you're 1.5 miles from a house that fits your criteria. Do you want to A, direct yourself there, B, send a message to the agent, C, D, whatever. So it lets people know while they're going about their regular day, hey, your property's right over there. So that was where that app came up. And then I'm just kind of scanning for the other apps. So then buyer matching system, fine. Then hang on, so we did the QR one. Then the safety app. Well, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. The safety app, that comes out of a couple things. First of all, the safety app with today's political environment in America. And this is kind of also the QR code app, I guess, a little bit. But people are going to be going into situations of protest where I mean, we have it today. We have people being snatched off my hometown streets by Tufts University,
Mhm.
students snatched by, I can't even believe I'm saying these words, by a bunch of
Mhm.
people in plain clothes with no IDs. Well, okay, is that a police action? Freaks me out that
Mhm.
it could possibly be. Or is that a bunch of thugs kidnapping someone? And the other angle that this safety app really came from was I do a lot of rather adult content photography. And all the time I'm having women typically show up at a strange location with me, go and do strange things. And I mean, let's face it, if I was somebody I'm not, that could be bad for them. Or they're going on a date and, you
Mhm.
know, whatever, or they're, you know, whatever the situation, the
Mhm.
reality is that they're saying, I'm going, forget it as mundane as I'm going for a hike. And if I'm supposed to be back from my hike, because I used to do emergency services in a parks department, and people be out
Mhm.
there for a couple of days before they're actually found, and you know, people realize, you know, it might take them 2 days before someone realizes they're missing, and yada yada. So that's an app that just comes out of pure safety of saying, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to check in by this point. If I do these things, if I don't, if I do, everything's fine. If I don't, these
Mhm.
things happen. Now, I had the other thought this morning of adding to that app,
Mhm.
given the abductions off the street corner
Mhm.
model, or anything, if the person running the app, meaning the potential victim, um, were to feel I'm in a situation, we give, and whether it's the side button or whatever, there's a button they can push and it immediately records what
Mhm.
environment they're in. So
Mhm.
like if they're being, you know, if this ICE police bullshit is happening, they touch the side of their phone, immediately it activates a recording device that uploads, I guess, somewhere.
Mhm.
You know, and whatever. So like, okay, well, the last moments before this person was disappeared, here was the conversation.
Mhm.
Here was the whatever. So again, it was that. So, but that's where these apps kind of came from.
Mhm.
And if there are ones that kind of align together, that pair up in some
Mhm.
way, great. But that's where they kind of, you know, if you know, if I get economies of scale on it by combining them or whatever, that's great. But that's kind of where they came from.
Mhm. Okay, that makes sense. So, if you don't mind, can I ask you, like you also said that you are looking for partners right now. So, I believe there is no such kind of like budget or timeline decided, correct?
Well, so I'm here. So I'm reaching out to developers for two things. One is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, timeline and budget to, you know, competitive scenario. What can you develop it for? What will it cost? And you know, how long will it take?
Mm-hmm.
Along with that, and I had this on. Oh, I'm sorry, and I forgot one app. The other app that I forgot is the app of the donations, the micro donations.
I don't
Um,
think so. You mentioned that you only listed four
oh,
applications, if I'm not wrong.
okay. I'm sorry. So let me fill you on the micro because I forget, this one goes back years. So the idea of the micro donations app is that, and I actually had this developed years ago, and I then got some personal things going on, and I never followed through on it. Now that the software is like outdated by like 20 years now. But the general idea is that a lot of people want to make donations, and the micro donations app and the safety app might align together because they both have that protest, you know, possible application. But the idea is that the user, so how we get our database of nonprofits is an open question. I don't know whether we simply let people
Mm-hmm.
pick any database, we're nonprofit from a database, or we actually have to create a membership with a database or with a nonprofit or whatever. But the user says, I want to donate 1 cent for every text message I send, up to a
Mm-hmm.
maximum monthly spend of X. 1 cent for every email I do. At 1 cent for whatever we can offer them, you know, 1 cent, 2 cent, 3 cent. So they
Mm-hmm.
get to choose how much per activity, which activity, you know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever we do. Texting was the original idea. I'm going to donate 2 cents for every text message I send.
Mhm.
And the mistake the first developer made, and I dropped the ball, and this is not really their fault, was that they were running it through PayPal as a process every time an activity was done. So
Mhm.
they would run 2 cents through PayPal, but then there's a 50-cent PayPal charge. So all of a sudden it's 52 cents. What I
But
want to do,
if you are registered as like a non-profitable organization, right, and if it's using any kind of payment merchant, right, and if it's sort of like a donation, so merchant do not charge your processing fee.
well, so and this is where so the way we had it aligned, because of course we want to make some money off these as well. Well,
Hmm.
the way we had it aligned is the user would say, I want to donate 1 cent to the Red Cross every time I send a text message, up
Hmm.
to $10 a month, up to whatever your
Hmm.
number is. So you pick which charity, you pick which activity, let's say texting, how much per activity, and what's your maximum. Basically, that's what you
Hmm.
pick. And then the system would quietly count those, and then
Hmm.
we would take a service fee, 10% or whatever, and we'd give the rest to the nonprofit. This isn't one of those scams where I'm going to take 90%, I'm going to give 10% to the nonprofit. It's the reverse. I want to live off a small number.
Hmm.
And so I don't think the processing fees would go back to the nonprofit because I think, and you guys might know this better, I think it's our app that's doing the processing.
Hmm.
I think we're submitting to PayPal, we're getting it accounted and whatever. If people want to donate, the QR code app version is they can scan a Salvation Army QR code, or if there's a ticket, there's a flyer in the supermarket selling tickets, they can scan the QR code, verify that it's actually the legitimate organization, and they can buy their tickets right there. So the QR code
Hmm.
would be running the processing on the nonprofits app or on the whoever's whatever. Could be a for-profit organization that they're paying, but whatever. Those processes are happening there because we're verifying it's real. That organization in the QR code app has paid us a membership fee,
Hmm.
and then all we're doing is verifying that the QR is correct and taking them to the destination of
Hmm.
where the client wants them taken. In the micro donations app, I think it's the reverse, that we're that somehow Sally's phone is telling us Sally sent 5,000 text messages.
Hmm.
Sally has, which is 5,500. That's $50. Well, Sally has a limit of $25 a month. Is all she's willing to donate. So okay, so we know $25. We have a 10% service fee minus whatever the processing fee is. Nonprofit gets $20, and then our account is instructed to do whatever and get the nonprofit the $20 or whatever. So that's why I think the micro donations app would be probably those service fees are incurred by us. And I don't
So
even know
in
if
that case,
they're
I have
concerned.
to do a bit of research as well. Like if we can go ahead and come up with some sort of like exemption on the processing fee of the merchants, right? Because see, this is something that you and I cannot have a control on because it's totally third party, right? But
Well,
again, if there's a way, if we can reduce that or
no,
like
no, no.
minimize that.
Let me jump in because I know you're saying reduce the processing fee. I'm saying just the opposite.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying our system, whether it reads the log of the phone or whether it counts internally or whatever, it counts somehow.
Mm.
And on the last day of every month, it says, "Oh, my ticker says 5,000 text messages were sent."
Hmm.
So it doesn't contact the merchant every time. It runs a little ticker and it counts.
Hmm.
And it says, "Okay, the end of the month is here. 5,000 whatevers have been sent."
Hmm.
And it does the math, and then it sends one processing
Overall bill.
to the merchant, saying,
Overall
"Okay,
bill. Oh, yeah.
exactly." So for this month, you because also it would look stupid on someone's PayPal account if there were 5,000 little PayPals.
Hmm.
Their activity report would, and I don't know if it's PayPal or who it is, doesn't matter. But the point is, their activity report would look stupid.
Hmm. I
Whereas
see.
if we do it this way, their activity report doesn't look stupid, and there's only one service fee. So we're billing $30, and PayPal's charging their 3%, and we're charging our 10% and whatever. Okay, fine. Okay, great. So we're billing the person $30, and yada 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 is happening on the back end. So that's where, and that's why, and that's the part I didn't think about when I was with the other developer. And then, truthfully, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he and I were actually partners in this, and then I had some personal reasons I dropped the ball or whatever. And so those are the 5 apps. And then what I was thinking in terms of partners was, and this is not a requirement. This is if somebody wants to. If you guys were to say, hey, we really believe in this application, we're willing to reduce our fee. We're willing to, whatever, be in some other way involved, marketing partner, this partner, that partner, the other partner. We're willing to be deep in the woods on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And in exchange, not only are you guys getting some sort of a service fee for developing the app, I'm not expecting you to do it for free, but flip it on its head, you're also getting a share of the profits.
Mm-hmm.
You're also an actual potential owner. I don't care. I could just hire a developer and go on about it. But I'm just offering that as a potential other option.
See, I can always discuss with this management. I am not the right person to discuss about that, right? Unless I do not have like a proper discussion with the management, because like I said, it's quite above my pay grade. But yes, again, let me just discuss this with the management. We can come back to you on this. But again, it will be really help me to understand, like, and I can drop like an official proposal for you based on the budget and the timeline that you have, and what I will recommend. Like, you said, like, start like, you want our suggestion. I will recommend to have like 4 different application rather than having one, because see, if we make one application with all these features, again, which is possible as well. I'm not saying which is
No,
not possible.
this is 5 different applications,
Yeah.
unless there's a reason to combine them.
Yeah,
Because
exactly. There's no reason.
because they also have almost nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some common ground that we can link to each other. So that was my intake as well. So let's keep them separately, right? More or less, and I can draft your proposal, like an official proposal based on our discussion today, and give you like a quote as well with the timeline. But it will really help me to understand like what is your budget and the timeline that you are willing to work with.
Well, no. What is my budget and what is my timeline? There's a reason I'm going to several providers.
Mm,
I
right.
can't tell you my budget because I'm not a developer. I don't know what the budget is. My budget is how
Mhm.
little can I spend.
But still, when you're shopping around, like you might have like something in your mindset, right?
I
That
don't.
okay,
No, I might, but I'm saying I don't.
okay, all right, that makes explains that. So let me just go through the notes that Jay has kept down for him with him, and
Okay.
let me just go through the RFP that you have sent. And thank you for answering all the questions that I had in mind, which you had explained already, without me asking you, and sent you like a proper proposal, and we can continue from there.
Okay. All right.
Steve, if you don't mind, can you please explain the trade info QR one more time, please? I was
What trade info? I don't know what you mean.
like, the QR code, which is used to, trade information. You were telling us, right? For the
Okay,
QR
yeah.
code app.
So
Yeah.
one of the uses for the QR code would be whether it's a college fair or it's an expo or it's something like that. Is that so? You walk into this expo and you walk up to the booth and you, rather than spending time handing your business card to the person and they have to take that business card home and enter it in their computer and whatever, and you take their brochure and you lose their brochure or whatever, you scan the QR code and then you as the customer popped up with a few questions. Trade information, and questions can be changed, but let's say trade information, take only their information, give only my information, schedule an appointment, whatever. So in trade information, and let me switch a little bit over to the college fair example.
Mm-hmm.
In trade information, the student, like my daughter, would scan, and she goes to these college sports fairs, and she would walk up to the booth and say trade information. So they would be given her transcript, they would be given her sports stuff, her stats, or this or that or the other thing, and the school would download or give back to her all the stuff on the school. So in the system, both parties would have set up, or at least one party would have set up, or probably both parties would have set up. Here's what I'm willing to share. I'm
Okay.
willing to share. And we don't need to be, I don't think our server needs to be the holder of that information. We could be, but it could be, I'm willing to share, like, for example, my daughter has an NCSA, like it's a social media for high school sports athletes. What we could be trading is those links. Give, the school would get her NCSA link, she would get their whatever link, but basically that both parties have to participate in this app, basically, and both parties would have set up what they're willing to share.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, I understand basically. Now I understand. It makes more sense. Okay. And could you also please explain a little bit more about the Lead Me app? Lead Me, Follow Me app.
I mean, beyond what I've said, I'm not sure what questions you have on it. It's
No, I actually I didn't completely get the idea. Can you please explain it?
yeah. So um, basically, what was I trying to say? That in some situation where one person's in one car and one person's in another car, or walking, I guess, but probably car to car, and we say, okay, we're going from this location to that location.
Mm-hmm.
The person who's both parties can put the destination in their GPS, and that's fine too, and they don't need us. But it might be, hey, you know what? Forget entering every address, because I do this with clients all the time in real estate and in television. Just follow me.
Okay.
You don't need the direction, just follow me. So then my phone, the lead phone, would somehow dock with the other phone, which is not going to be Bluetooth, obviously, because it'll be way too far away.
Mm-hmm.
And the following car would have a dot for the lead car, and the lead car would have a dot for the following car, and they'd be saying, okay. So there wouldn't have to be a destination.
Okay.
It would just be the lead car goes left at 3rd Street, and that tells the following car. And so lead car goes left at 3rd Street, and then when the following car starts to approach 3rd Street, the GPS says, take left at 3rd Street.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's basically playing the role of a GPS without having a destination, without having the GPS do all the calculating. Well, that may not even be possible. I don't know, but that's the general idea.
I get it now. I get it. So basically, you want one app, basically one mobile phone, to be acting as a leader, and the others will follow. So wherever your phone will go, the app will tell the others to follow this, and here will show them the route that, okay, you've gone through here, you've gone through these roads and everything, right? So they can follow you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I got it. So yeah, Steve, I have noted down everything now, and just want to know, Oscar, do you have any questions?
Nope. This call is mostly about
No, I do not have any kind of questions. So this was just like introduction to understand what exactly going on or not.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it from my side, and thank you so much for your time, Steve. Do you have any questions for us?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
No problem, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.